IMU has walked into Elbaf with full force, and one member of the Gorosei is watching it happen with what looks like quiet satisfaction. That man is Saint Figarland Garling, the newest member of the Five Elders and the head of the most secretive family in the One Piece world. A theory posted by Fandom Wire on May 13th, 2026 makes the case that Garling is not loyal to IMU at all, and that the Elbaf conflict is the exact opening he has been waiting for. This video breaks down the Figarland Betrayal Theory, the Norse mythology that supports it, and the recent chapters that make it timely. The article was published on May 13th, 2026 by writer Mumita Chakraborty on Fandom Wire. Its central claim is that the final saga of One Piece may be setting up IMU's downfall through the Figarland family, with Saint Garling as the most likely traitor. The theory is built on three connected ideas, each tied to events already shown in the manga. The first idea is what fans are calling the God Valley parallel. In chapter 1179, the Gorosei looked uneasy when IMU announced he was personally leaving Mary Geoise to travel to Elbaf. They tried to talk him out of it, treating the decision as abnormal and dangerous, but IMU ignored every warning and went anyway. The theory compares this to Roxy Xebec, another ruler who chased absolute power and walked into one catastrophic battlefield at God Valley, where he fell. The pattern is similar enough to raise the question of whether Elbaf is meant to function as IMU's God Valley. The story is also heavily emphasizing destiny and inherited will right now, and IMU himself has been describing current events as if history is repeating. The second idea focuses on Garling's behavior, which has been suspicious for some time. Oda specifically chose the head of the Figarland family to become a Gorosei during the final saga, and that timing feels deliberate. Garling already has a historical link to God Valley in the Rocks era, having served as the champion of God Valley. He now stands beside another seemingly invincible ruler whose grip on the world is starting to look fragile. The theory points to his tone in chapter 1179 as the key detail. While the other elders begged IMU to reconsider leaving Mary Geoise, Garling showed no willingness to question him. He almost seemed eager for IMU to take direct action. That eagerness could be loyalty, or it could be a man who wants his king out in the field, using up his strength in a fight that was never part of any standard plan. The recent chapters give that interpretation real weight, because IMU is currently burning through his abilities at a steady rate. In chapter 1180, titled Omen and released on April 19, 2026, fans saw what IMU can do on a battlefield. He revealed an ability called Omen, which appears as a small black flame forming in his palm. With it, he overpowered giants, regenerated the Knights of God, overwhelmed Hadruddin, and shut down Zoro and Sanji with little effort. In chapter 1181, IMU explained that his power has three foundations: corruption, covenant, and omen, which together form what he calls domination. He offered Loki the power of a god, and Loki refused. In chapter 1182, and released on May 10, 2026, IMU launched Omen Arrow at Loki, then followed up with another move called 16 Moons that left Loki kneeling and coughing blood. IMU is currently spending his most dangerous powers, which lines up with the window the theory describes. An exhausted IMU, far from home, surrounded by enemies, while Garling sits back in Mary Geoise, watching it unfold. The third idea connects the Figarland family to Norse mythology, and this is where the theory takes on real weight. Shanks continues to receive treatment completely different from every other pirate in the world. Then there is Shamrock, Shanks' twin brother, confirmed in chapter 1137 as Figarland Garling's son and the current commander of the Holy Knights. After Shamrock's reveal, fans began connecting the brothers to two figures from Norse mythology, Sköll and Hati. In the old myths, Sköll and Hati are wolves, considered the sons of Fenrir, a giant chained wolf whose freedom marks the beginning of Ragnarok, the final world-ending war. Sköll chases the sun across the sky, and Hati chases the moon. They drive the cycle of day and night until they finally catch their targets and devour them, ending the world. Applied to One Piece, Shanks reads as Sköll, the wolf chasing the sun, because Luffy is the Sun God Nika. Shanks raised Luffy, gave him the straw hat, bet his arm on him, and stole the Nika fruit 12 years ago with motivations tied to bringing Nika back. Shamrock reads as Hati, the wolf chasing the moon, because his father Garling has a hairstyle that resembles a crescent moon. Shamrock follows his father's path, representing the cover of night, the celestial dragon rule, and the world remaining in darkness. A separate theory suggests Garling himself may hold a mythical Zoan devil fruit based on Fenrir, the father of Sköll and Hati. That theory gets stronger when you consider that Saint Saturn, the Gorosei Garling replaced, has a real-world moon literally named Fenrir. Garling stepped into Saturn's spot, and Saturn's moon shares a name with the creature Garling might transform into. The myth itself leaves the outcome open in a way that makes the Figarland Betrayal Theory cleaner. In Norse mythology, Sköll and Hati eventually devour the sun and the moon, which is how the world ends. Taken directly, that would mean Shanks the Sun Chaser would devour Luffy the Sun. The popular fan reading flips this. Shanks is not trying to destroy Luffy. He is searching for him, raising him, and bringing about a new dawn, casting away the corrupt rule of the celestial dragons. Shamrock is the one trying to keep the world covered in night. The brothers represent two sides of the same prophecy, and Garling sits above them as their father. Whichever way the story breaks, the Figarland family is at the center, which is what makes betrayal a real possibility. Garling does not need to be a hero or a villain. He only needs to be patient. Another detail connects Garling's design to real history. Fans have identified Saint Garling Figarland as most likely based on Yuri Gagarin, the first man to go into space. The final part of their names matches in Japanese pronunciation. When Gagarin returned from space, he famously said, "I see no god up here." Applied to One Piece, the implication is significant. The celestial dragons are treated as the gods of the world, with IMU at the very top as the highest god of all. If Garling is based on Gagarin, then he may be the one character in the world government who looks at IMU and recognizes what no one else will admit. IMU is a human. IMU can be killed. IMU is not a real god. If Garling believes that, he has no reason to fear IMU the way the other elders do. He only needs to wait for a major war that keeps the elders busy, wait for IMU to exhaust himself, and then take the empty throne for himself. The empty throne ties into another piece of supporting evidence. The five elders are no longer as untouchable as they once appeared. In chapter 1125, IMU stripped Saint Saturn of his immortality and killed him without remorse, simply because Saturn allowed Luffy to escape from Egghead. IMU did not explain the situation to the other elders himself. He had Garling do it. The elders are not partners to IMU. They are pawns who can be replaced, and every elder in that room saw what happened to Saturn. They saw how easily IMU discards centuries of service when he is angered. If Garling is paying attention, and the evidence suggests he is, then he knows staying loyal to IMU means staying disposable. The only way out of that cycle is to act first. There's also a competing theory that sits next to the Figarland Betrayal Theory, and points in the same general direction. Some fans believe that not just Garling, but all five elders will eventually turn on IMU. The argument is built on naming patterns. All five elders have names based on planets, including Mars and Saturn. Planets do not rule, they orbit. They exist in balance around the sun. By naming the Gorosei after planets, Oda may be signaling that they were never meant to be gods or absolute rulers. The theory also points out that the Gorosei have conquerors' haki, which usually belongs to people with strong wills who refuse to kneel. If the Gorosei truly have that kind of haki, their submission to IMU makes little sense unless it was forced through abilities that erase people, control them, and overwrite their original selves. The broader theory frames the entire world government as a system built on a false center, with all the planets returning to their natural orbit around the real sun, Luffy, once that center breaks. The Figarland-specific version is the more focused, character-driven take on that same idea, and it identifies Garling as the one who pushes the first domino. When the pieces are stacked, the picture is hard to dismiss. IMU personally left Mary Geoise against the warnings of his own Gorosei. Garling did not warn him. He encouraged him. IMU is currently in the middle of the largest battle of his life, spending his strongest abilities against Loki and Luffy. He has already shown that he treats his elders as replaceable pawns, which gives Garling every reason to want him gone. Garling has historical ties to God Valley. the same kind of catastrophic battlefield Elbaf is starting to resemble. His character is likely based on Yuri Gagarin, the man who saw no god in the heavens, which fits a figure who would look at IMU and see a mortal. His sons, Shanks and Shamrock, align with Sköll and Hati from Norse myth, the wolves whose chase ends the world. And Garling himself may transform into Fenrir, the wolf father whose unchaining begins Ragnarok. The question the article ends on is the right one. If IMU falls in Elbaf, will the killing blow come from Luffy as the Sun God Nika fulfilling his prophecy? Or will it come from inside the world government, with Garling stepping in at the moment of exhaustion to claim the empty throne? In One Piece, the largest twists tend to come from those who have waited the longest. Garling has waited a long time. He survived God Valley. He climbed. He was promoted to the Five Elders at the exact moment IMU's reign began to crack. Now he watches his king walk into the same kind of war that ended Rocks. If the Figarland Betrayal Theory holds, the final war in One Piece is also a family matter, and the wolves are already in motion. Whether or not Oda commits to this direction, the setup is in place. The mythology, the character placement, the timing of the chapters, the unusual behavior of one elder, the unique treatment of Shanks, the introduction of Shamrock, and the rate at which IMU is using his powers all point in the same direction. Chapter 1, 1183 releases on May 24th, 2026. Whatever it contains, the Figarland family sits at the center of the final saga, and the story is heading toward a moment where their loyalty will be tested. That is where the theory leaves the situation, with the man standing closest to IMU possibly the most dangerous threat he has left.